Alrighty. Sorry this is taking me so long to get it to you. It's been just nothing but technical difficulties around here. So, just a couple of thoughts, and you may not even need this information now since it's been a couple of days. But this is what I wanted to get to, and this is why too much for text. So, the first thing is if you think you might have a low level infection or a low grade infection around that root canal site, you got to get antibiotics. There's no way around it. And antibiotics are fairly cheap and easy to get. So you can go down to your local free clinic if you don't have medical insurance. But you want to get on antibiotics, okay, if that is the case, because nothing else is going to help. And it will just get worse. And the thing to remember with your teeth and your gums in particular is that it's literally just a straight pipeline into your circulatory system. So in order to avoid bigger problems that will become systemic through the whole body, we want to make sure we want to keep our gums nice and healthy, and we want to keep infections out of those gums and old root canal sites. Now, the other thing is, and this is just a suggestion, so I would recommend getting yourself a bottle of therapeutic grade oregano oil, essential oil, oregano. Now, the reason I say this is because, I absolutely encourage you to do your own research and look this up. It's actually fascinating reading. But there's been studies where they've looked at what different essential oils can do. And one of the things that they found about oregano oil, which is very interesting, is that oregano oil is very, very good at fighting off and defending the body against staph and MRSA infections. So, and especially in antibiotic resistant patients. So if you've ever been in a hospital or you know people who work in the medical field, like they can tell you, like staph and MRSA infections are common infections inside hospitals, and they're nasty buggers to get rid of. And if somebody's antibiotic resistant, like at that point, you're just going to have it constantly. But oregano oil has been shown to do what other antibiotics can't do in the antibiotic resistant population when it comes to staph and MRSA. Now, I'm pretty sure you don't have a staph or MRSA infection in your mouth. But if it can do that with staph and MRSA with antibiotic resistant people, I'm sure it can do this similar benefits to you. Now, with this oil, the first thing is you absolutely do not put this directly on your gums. It will hurt like Jesus. I know. So you know how they tell you to take clove oil and put clove oil in the tooth for the toothache, and like if you've ever done it, you're like, oh my God. So this is the same thing. We're not putting it directly on the gum. What you're going to do, and this is going to be the easiest, safest way, I think, to get it in your system, is to take a pot and make steamed water. You know how we used to do the thing when our sinuses were blocked because they had a cold, you'd make a pot of steaming water and you'd put a towel over your head to trap the steam under the towel, and you would breathe in the steamy air, right? So you'll do the same thing with the oregano oil. So make a pot of steamy water, put 1 or 2 drops of, you don't need a lot, 1 or 2 drops of oregano oil in the water, and put a towel over your head and just inhale the oregano oil in the steamed water. So that will get into your respiratory system, but it will also, if you breathe with your mouth open, it will get that oregano oil in and around those gums without having to directly put them on your gums. So you might want to give that a try. The upside, of course, is that oregano oil is great for fighting off all sorts of wintertime nasties. So because you have children at home, you can actually do the oregano oil in a diffuser. Just going to disperse it into the air around the house. And that will help keep some of the infections down, for you guys. So that's the thing with oregano oil, which you can give that a try. You're not required to. I mean, it might help. Might not, but if it doesn't help, it won't hurt, and that's the most important thing. And where else was I going with this? Oh, right. Warm, steamy compresses. So get yourself a dish towel, like something bigger than a washcloth, smaller than a bath towel. Get it wet and warm, right? Like the warm, wet compress, like we were using in the office. And I want you to put this on the side of your head, like where you're feeling the pain, where the side the root canal's on. But you want to make sure that you're putting it like right here, okay? So in the temporal region of the skull. And if you can, maybe just a little bit down here, like where the occiput is, right into the top of the neck. The reason we're doing this, one, we're trying to get some of those muscles to relax. like across the scalp. Okay, so they'll loosen up and make some space so things can move. Because there's still some gooey, gunky crap in there. I'm sure that's slowing stuff down. The other thing is that it should help. It's not the be all end all, but it certainly should help with lymphatic drainage around that area, right? So give that a try, and you make sure in both cases when we're dealing with hot water. One, when you're doing your steam inhalation, never ever ever use water so hot you're going to burn yourself. And two, when you do the compresses, it's the same thing. Don't use compresses that are so hot that you're going to burn yourself. With a compress on the side of your head, you're just going to leave it there until it gets cold, right? And then take it off, and that's it. And that's it. So try doing that like once a day, right, for a couple of days and see how you feel. The other thing is you got to remember to be gentle with yourself. And this is true for anybody, like if you have survived any kind of trauma, right, and especially physical or not physical, emotional or psychological trauma, one of the big challenges is that as a survival skill, we learn to become numb, right? We just stop feeling because, you can't afford to feel, right? So the problem is when we need work done, we tend to have this, I see this in the office a lot, this attitude was like, I can take it, deeper, harder, meaner, I can take it. To the point where I'm wondering if these people can feel anything at all, like, oh my God, woman, are you dead inside? Can you not feel that? So, so this is to say that whatever it is that you do, whether you're getting body work or you're taking care of yourself or anything that involves self-care, right? I want you to consider being as compassionate and gentle with your body, as you possibly can be, right? If other people are capable of showing your body compassion, and gentleness, right? Because they understand you're in a process of healing, you're having a crisis, that's why you're seeing them. You can also do that yourself. Remember, if you're looking for a life partner, it's right there under your nose. Your life partner is your body. Your body will do everything it can to keep you alive. It will do everything it can to do what you're asking it to do. Your body will never leave you. Everything from the neck down is not a life support system for your head. Your body is literally there to help you function and keep you alive. And sometimes it'll help you function, keep you alive in ways you weren't expecting because your body knows you're just clearly too stupid to figure it out. So your body's going to take over, right? So, and it takes time for things to physically manifest. So the longer we sit on stuff and not deal with it, the more likely we are to watch that weed in the garden grow until the next year it looks like we've got a damn tree growing. Okay, so it's the same thing there. So little issues become big problems the longer we ignore them. So be kind to yourself and be patient. Be very patient. So hopefully this will help. I apologize. This took so long to get up online. It's been all sorts of weird technical difficulties around here. Or maybe it's just my brain short-circuiting. I'm not sure which. But it's done now. So I said what I needed to say. Let me know how you're doing. But oregano oil, the steam inhalation, right? And a nice warm hot compress that doesn't burn you on the side of your head where the root canal is affected, and antibiotics if you need them. Okay? So keep in touch. Let me know how you're progressing. We'll talk to you soon. Oh, and one last thing. Also, too, sometimes the things that we're feeling are aggravated or exacerbated by the fires we're trying to put out in our lives, right? So if you find yourself in a situation where you're constantly trying to put out fires around you, right, dealing with one crisis after another, it is entirely possible that while this is going on, it is exacerbating or making worse the issues around the most superficial or obvious injury, right? So the root canal issue is very surface, right? And it's active, so because it hasn't quite completely healed yet. So that is going to be easier for your nervous system and your whole body, right? To go there to send off the signal flares, like you got to stop, take a breath, let it go. Then it is show up in your foot or your thigh, right? So we can't always take time out of life, and we don't always get a choice. Actually, we never get a choice. in the crises and the issues that we're dealing with. But you got to remember, girl, you got to remember, you have made it this far. You have made it this far. And you are going to move on and get past it and make it even further. If you can go through everything you've gone through so far and you're still here standing and capable of being a decent human being, everything else is just stuff. It's just a detail. It's just a plot line in a soap opera, right? So don't worry about it. Don't let these people make you crazy, right? And understand that sometimes our choices and people in our lives are literally a reflection of how we're not loving ourselves enough. So the problem is not necessarily that we're surrounded by assholes. And well, honestly, sometimes we are, but it's usually because there's not enough good people in our life. Oh, sorry. And that is a reflection of how we are not being kind, gentle, or respectful of ourselves, right? The self that lives inside the skin. So hopefully that'll help. You take care of yourself, and I expect to hear something from you, even if it's just an update, sometime in the future. Hope this helps. Bye.